Now, when you are asking this question, you might first of all answer, that maybe a little less TV and a little more meditation is not a bad idea. No. So there are certainly some things which you can lose. But apart from that, there is one magical formula to create 1 or 2 hours more time in the day. And it is quite simply to sleep less. Most people sleep too much. Actually, when on a Sunday morning you are sleeping very long, very often people do that, they don't have to get up, so they maybe get up at 10, 11, 12, whatever. They sleep very long. So remember one of those days and ask yourself, if I do that, do I wake up very refreshed, or do I wake up rather dull and sleepy? I think you all know the answer. If you sleep very long, when you wake up, you're going to feel very tired. You're going to feel very dull. So why is that? Well, quite simply, the last hours of your sleep, you have not been sleeping. You have been dreaming. This is what happens. In the beginning of your sleep, then you really sleep. Then you really have deep sleep. Actually, we sleep in periods of about 1.5 hours. This is also in Western science very well known. So 1.5 hours we have relatively deep sleep. And then for a couple of minutes we have the REM phase, rapid eyeball movement phase. When, if you look at a person who is sleeping, you will see that his eyeballs are moving, below the eyelids. This means he is dreaming. And in his dream he is looking at things, so that's why the eyes are moving. But this only lasts for a few minutes, and then you again go into deep sleep. And then one more, 1.5 hours, that's 3 hours. Then another one of that, 4.5 hours. Then maybe another one of that, up to 6 hours. But for most adults, even already there, they will see that the REM phase is starting to become longer. You are still thinking you are sleeping, but your mind is no longer sleeping. Your mind already has slept enough and is awake and is feeling bored and wants to do something. So it creates all kinds of entertainment. And, maybe you are chased by some imaginary monster or something, whatever the mind is going to create just to keep busy. So then if you sleep more and even more, then your deep sleep will be completely gone and you will only be dreaming. And that is why if you sleep very long, you get up very tired. Mentally you will feel very tired because you've been chased by so many monsters and it's been very annoying. In your dream you can be very angry, you can be very afraid, you can have all kinds of things which actually maybe in normal life you don't even have. So that is why, and that is why I'm saying that it's very easy for most people. There are exceptions, but for most people it's very easy to reduce the time that they sleep. Usually from around 8 hours, which is like the time most people think here that they have to sleep, to about 6 hours. That should be possible, and for some people, even if they start working on it, it will be very easy to go to 5 hours or even a little bit less. The way how to do this is quite simply to try it out. You don't have to believe me, but you can just try it out. And just start sleeping, maybe let's say for 6 hours. And don't sleep during the day, keep it up. And then again sleep for 6 hours. Then, And you can't just test this in one day. This is not enough because your pattern needs to change. So this will require a little time. But after a week, most probably, you will say, oh, I'm sleeping 2 hours less and still I'm having more energy than before. That is really what I can promise you. You will have more energy than before. You will feel less tired during the day. So try it out. And in this way, I like to explain a little bit how this is written in the old Vedic texts to give you some idea, where they are describing how many hours normal people should sleep, depending on their age, because this is a little bit like age dependent. And then Harish Johari always said that watch out, because the normal people that they are talking about are superhuman in this age. So it's a little bit extreme maybe, but so what do they say is that a child up to the age of 7 should sleep 10 to 12 hours a day, and usually will sleep on its belly. This is typical first chakra behavior. Then up to 14 years old, sleep should be 8 to 10 hours, and the tendency will be there to sleep in a fetus pose. Then up to 21 years old, sleep should be 6 to 8 hours only, and the tendency will be to sleep on the back. This is typical third chakra pose. Then between 21 and 28, sleep should not be longer than 5 to 6 hours a day. And there you will mostly sleep on the left side. Then when fifth chakra also develops, which normally speaking should be around age 35 or up to age 35, then sleep should be reduced to 4 or 5 hours. Then when you reach 42, sixth chakra already should be rather dominant in your being, and then 3 to 4 hours of sleep should be enough. And then after that, reaching 50 around, you should be moving between 6th and 7th chakra, which is quite a long way actually. And then sleep should be less than 3 hours. Harish Johari was sleeping around 1.5 to 2 hours every day, no exception. So this is a little extreme, but it shows you that some, development is there as you grow older. Also, many old people complaining that they don't sleep enough, that they can't sleep anymore 8 hours. This is very natural that they can no longer sleep 8 hours. They don't require to sleep 8 hours. So they shouldn't complain about it, they should be very happy about it. Right? This is called the owl age. Like the owl, they don't sleep in the night. So exceptions are there. Exceptions are there, for example, if you are ill or otherwise maybe very weak or something. Exception is there maybe if you do very hard physical labor, then it's also possible. So everybody has to find it out for him or herself. And the way to find it out is just to gradually reduce the time of sleep. Always, at least for 1 week, keep one particular time. And then feel, do you wake up refreshed or not? This is the main thing. How you feel during the day is actually not so very important, especially not in the beginning, because as I said, it's a pattern that needs to be reset. But the main question is, do you wake up and immediately you are there ready to take on life? That is the main thing. If you find that moment, then you know this is the amount of time that I need to sleep. And for most people, this will gain them 1 or 2 hours. The 1 or 2 hours I was talking about before, that you should have before you should start working. And if then, these 1 or 2 hours, you spend a little bit in a more meditative fashion, this will also bring you so much more energy. Because truly, if you're sleeping very long, as I said, these last hours, they are very tiring for your mind. If you can replace them by some things which are actually very restful for your mind, which are giving you peace of mind, then you will have a lot more energy. So, anyhow, this is the main thing. Sleep less And use the time that you gain to get some real peace of mind. And the result will be you will have more energy, not less. And you will have more time. And you will feel more confident that you are able to grow in your practice. So all very important things. So, and then let's start just with the day. So let's start with sunrise. And I've mentioned it a few times before that getting up before sunrise is like a big thing. And it is very important. But it is more easy in India than it is with us. In India, because they are more near to the equator, the sunrise time in winter is not so very different from the sunrise time in summer. There's maybe like 1 hour difference depending where you are. Here it is more difficult. Sunrise time in midsummer is about 5:30 and in midwinter is about 8:45. So this is a very big difference. So getting up before sunrise in winter, almost everybody does it. And getting up before sunrise in midsummer, almost nobody does it. And I'm not saying you have to do it. You have to see for yourself how you can fit this into your life. And actually getting up before sunrise does not mean you have to get up at 5:30 in June. It actually means you have to get up around 45 minutes before sunrise if you want to do it right, which means you have to get up at 4:45. So this is not easy. But at this time of the year, it is still very easy to do it. So if you can, try it out, see what it does to you, and by the time then when the sunrise becomes even more early, maybe you will have the motivation to anyhow try to stick to it. But believe me, for many, many years I've also worked with that. I have not been able to do it every summer for sure. This is not so easy. But it's a good work to try to do it. And whatever you can do, it will work. And so why is this important? Actually, already about 1.5 hours before sunrise, a first wave of energy reaches us. This is the time when most animals will wake up. This is the time when most birds will start singing. At that time, it is no longer pitch dark. It's still dark, but if you look at the sky, a little bit of light is coming. So the birds, they are seeing that, and they are starting to sing. And so it is actually also very good if you are awake at that time, but it's even more difficult. But so then a second energy wave, much more strong, comes about half an hour, 20 minutes before sunrise. And this energy wave is very, very important because it directly influences your biochemistry. Also there, Western studies have confirmed, for example, at that time, the blood becomes very thin. Now the blood becoming very thin means that the blood can more easily reach everywhere, especially in the very fine how we call it, not arteries, but like veins that are there everywhere in the tissues and the organs. The blood can really reach, and so it will remove all the toxins, and it will bring new energy, new oxygen, new nutrients there. Now this happens whether you are awake or not. But what actually happens is very different whether you are awake or not. Because if you are awake before that time, then normally you should also have been able to go to the toilet before that time. And that is so very important, and that's why you need to get up like 45 minutes before sunrise. So then you have 15-20 minutes to get up, get out of bed and go to the toilet. This is extremely important because during the night a lot of toxins are created in your digestive tract, in your intestines. And so it is very natural for the body, the moment you wake up, to release that, to remove that from the body. If you can do that, then this thinning of the blood, this whole energizing of your system will have much better effect. Actually, if you don't do it, then this thinning of the blood will mean that more toxins are going to be taken out of the intestines and spread around all your body, rather than the other way around. So, this is a first reason why it is interesting to get up before sunrise, and this thinning of the blood is just one aspect of it. The Vedas call this time the Amrit Bela, the time of the nectar of life. In the ancient scriptures it is believed that at this time the creative energy of the whole universe comes to you and gives you like an extra push. And if you are awake and clean and ready to receive it, this will also greatly enhance your energy during the day. And another name for it is Brahma Muhurta, and Brahma meaning both Brahma the creator, in the sense that at that time the whole planet is like recreated every day, but also Brahman in the sense of the self, the universal self, which is at that time most easily reached before sunrise. Another important reason to get up before sunrise has to do with prana and apana. Prana is the life force as we inhale it and then is spreading in our body. Apana is a kind of prana, a kind of energy, but an energy that is used to remove everything downwards. For our bowel movements, for the removal of urine, for everything, we use this energy, it's called apana. Now, because of its particular nature, apana is attracted by the gravity of the earth, while prana, because of its specific nature, is attracted by the gravity of the sun. So, when sunrise comes, a change happens in prana and apana. Before sunrise, the sun and the earth are pulling in the same direction. So prana and apana are mixed. But at sunrise, the sun starts pulling on the prana and starts pulling the prana upwards and separating it from the apana. This is very important for your health, but also for your spiritual growth. If at that time you are lying down, then this cannot happen, obviously. Then the sun will pull upwards, but there's no going upwards because you're in a horizontal position. And then this will block some of the higher energy channels. This apana, which is, you could say, a little bit impure, a little bit dirty, precisely because of its function, will block certain channels and will effectively block the possibility to grow spiritually in the chakras and all that sort of thing. So this is another important reason. And then maybe the most important reason to get up before sunrise is because at sunrise there's a little bit of a miracle happening in everyone. A miracle which is very suitable for meditation. I think all of you have already heard about this pranayama exercise where we try to balance the air going in the nostrils, left and right. We close one nostril and then breathe in, and then we open it and breathe out, and this way we try to balance it. And this is very important because these air streams are strongly affecting our brain, especially the inner dialogue between thoughts and emotions is influenced by the air streams that go through our nose. This may sound a little bit strange, but that's Vedic science. So, in a way, if we want to meditate and we want to stop thinking, this is always the first dialogue that needs to be stopped. I am thinking this, but I am feeling something else. Very often we think about these things. Our feelings and our thoughts, our emotion and our rational mind, they don't seem to agree. By just simply doing this exercise, this kind of dialogue will automatically stop. Because both sides of the brain will have like equal power. None will be dominant over the other. And now what happens at sunrise is that this automatic natural breathing evenly through both nostrils in the same way happens. It starts a few minutes before sunrise, and then depending on your mood and your meditative state, it can last for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Or even more if your meditation is going so deep that you yourself are keeping this balance alive, which is called sushumna. Sushumna is the balance between the solar and lunar currents, in Ida and Pingala. So there are many good reasons to get up before sunrise, and in many old yogic texts, not being able to get up before sunrise is seen as a big obstruction on the path of yoga. So don't feel this like a big weight on your shoulders. Now you also have to get up before sunrise, but you can try to work on it. And as I said, in the winter it's very easy. In spring and autumn it's actually also quite easy, and then in summer it's more difficult. Okay, don't be too hard on yourself. Just give it your best shot. That's what I would say after a long time of experience with this story. The moment of waking up is also extremely important. It's the same story. It is there that you will set the pattern for the entire day. The first minutes that you are awake. Many people, when they wake, either they start thinking about yesterday, or they start thinking about the day to come. Very bad idea. It's the worst thing. To get worried already, I have to be there and I have to meet this person, I don't really like him, and how will it be, and or yesterday was so awful and I'm feeling very ashamed and I'm going to have to... Shh. The moment you wake up and you feel that you are going in that direction, which is like just mind, being happy that finally you have waken up and, he can start some drama and some story, just say shh. And then whatever you can do, your mantra or whatever breathing exercise or something, you do it, so that you keep as much as possible a peace of mind. Between the time that you wake up and the time of your meditation, you should try to be as calm as possible, obviously. You should only do the things that are needed before you can start this meditation, and not do anything else that will excite your mind even further than it already naturally does. So you avoid reading the newspaper, obviously. The newspaper is usually full of bad news. It's very hard to find any good news there, so you want to start your day with bad news. It's bad news, it's not a good idea. You preferably also don't engage with too many people, and especially not with people who are having a bad mood. This is a very typical problem that people have, like when they visit some Indian ashram, and then everybody is so very nice to them, and they feel very much at home, and then in the morning they get up, and then nobody looks at them, and they want to say hello, and they want to have a chat, and everybody goes like, not even looking at them. This is because at that time they don't want to be disturbed. They want to keep as much as possible this peaceful mind until they have done those little things that they have to do before they can start their meditation. So try to avoid anything excessive. On the contrary, you can do many things. In the book there are many examples of things you can do. Like, it's very good to have some flowers near your bed and have this as the first thing that you see when you wake up. This is a very good thing. Or something white is also supposed to be very good. And then, as I said, the main thing that you have to do before your meditation is you have to go to the toilet. So for some people this will go very easily. For some people this will be a little more difficult. So then you can maybe have a little walk in your garden. That's really, good. Use some asana, in a quiet fashion to help the digestive system to start the apana. There are many things that you can do. And a very important thing also is that when you are waking up in your bed, that you don't remain lying down, but that as soon as possible you sit up in your bed. This is important for your energy flow. Because when you wake up, this is like a major change. We are not usually aware of that, but for all your organs and all your system, this is a major change. At that moment, the question is, where will the energy go? If you are lying down, the energy will not so easily go upwards. If you are sitting upwards, the energy will more easily go there and allow you to remain in a peaceful mood. So, it's obviously also the best way not to again fall asleep. It's also very good for your development. And I forgot to talk about the alarm clock. You may need to use an alarm clock, especially if you start working with your sleeping time. Start reducing your sleeping time. But try to use one with a pleasing sound. Preferably, that you don't wake up like in a shock. That's also not a good idea. And after a while, you may still have the alarm, but if you have a habit of getting up always at the same time, then you will easily wake up 5-10 minutes before the alarm goes off, and you will be able to put it out before it has to come out, has to work. And then, it's still there as a backup, but that's all. So, you sit up, maybe you draw your, blankets around you, because you don't really want to get out of the warm bed. No? Okay, you don't have to get out. You can just sit upright and take your blankets and stay in the warmth. Close your eyes, be there. Slowly wake up and remain peaceful. Many things are there. You can watch your hands, you can touch your fingers to your thumb. These are all very good things to help the waking process. And then, before you get out of bed, you should check which of your nostrils is dominant. By inhaling strongly through your nose, you will feel that one nostril is more open and the other is not so much open. More air is coming through one. So in my case, for example, at the moment, it is on the left side, more dominant. Why do you need to know this? And now you will laugh. It is so that you will not get out of bed with the wrong leg. We have a saying like that, right? To get out of bed with the wrong leg. And this is very old knowledge. If your left side nostril is dominant when you wake up, you should get out of bed with the left leg. And if the right one is dominant, you have to get out with the right leg. It's a tantric thing, you could say, a little magic, to set also a pattern for the day. To not go against the natural rhythm that you have. So, you can do it or you cannot do it. Actually all these things are very helpful. Just to stop yourself thinking about the day which will come and whatever comes before, All these things help you also in that, whether you believe in them or not. You can just do them, so it keeps you busy until you have time to go to the toilet. And then after toilet, usually a little bit refreshing yourself is good. Not necessarily taking a real bath. For many people, they may find this at that moment too much refreshing, too much activating. They want to stay more peaceful. But a little bit splashing hands and face, feet, usually also in India, is done. And there a little trick is that if you wash your teeth or rinse your mouth, you should at the same time also splash water in your eyes. Because both are mucous membranes that are in contact with the outside world. So if you splash water in your mouth and not in your eyes, then your eyes will have a drying effect. You understand? So this is really not so very good for your eyes. So this is just a little trick to remember. Many things you can do. You can make faces in the mirror. This is very good to relax your muscles, all kinds of things. Until then you are ready to start your meditation. Usually facing the east. I'm not going to explain more about what to do, because there are so many kinds of meditation, and this is really another kind of class. Then after meditation, when you wake up from it, very usual to do and very healthy to do is the sun salutation. Yes, very logical to do, very healthy to do, and whatever other asana you like to do in the morning. Now, some people may do it even before their meditation. Like with sadhus, again, this is very usual because they get up at 4 o'clock anyhow. So they take a full bath, they do the full, asana, pranayama, all these things, and then they are ready by time of sunrise for their meditation. But for householder yogis, a little bit more difficult, so usually it happens afterwards. But this is really quite free, how you feel about it. Personally, for example, I really like to stretch a little bit after waking up, just so that everything is loose. That does not mean I'm doing any very special asana. I'm just making everything loose. Then asana can better come after the meditation. Then usually after a little asana and sweating, you take a bath. About bathing also I could explain a lot of things, but the main thing is don't make it too hot or too cold. And then after that bath, you put on new clothes. This is a very, you could say, typical Indian habit, because of usually the sweating being a little bit more strong there because of the heat. But it's not only that. Putting on new clothes means putting on a kind of new pattern, a new kind of energy. Your clothes of yesterday will still have some of the energy of yesterday. If you want to start a new day, it's best to start with new clothes. Now everybody can kind of do this the way they want. Definitely those clothes that touch your skin are the most important to change. And then is the time to do a little sankalpa. Sankalpa means, quite simply, that you have some good intentions for the day. That then, yes, fully ready, fully clothed, fully washed, coming out of your meditation and your yoga practice, then you think about the day. It's not because I often say that you should try to stop thinking that I'm saying you never should think. No, sometimes it's important to think, and you say, okay, today I'm going to face this or that problem. I'll really try my best to do it like this or to do it like that, and to really have a clear idea what you want to do with the day. And usually in India, this is also the time for puja, for ritual. Because in a way, puja is also sankalpa. Puja is also where you say to the divine, in whichever form that you prefer, that you will honor them. And that you also ask for their support in having a good day. So this is a little bit similar and very typical in India to do it like that. And then after puja, there is free time, there is usually some breakfast and some light entertainment, some music, some art, some things, hobbies, whatever, feeding the birds, as you wish, until about 10 o'clock. This is typical there. Now, I'm like now making a beautiful painting of this whole morning ritual. I understand it's not so easy to integrate that in your life. You do what you can, but if already you get up a little earlier than usual, you will have more time to do at least some of it. And I think the more you will do it, the more you will like it, the more you will feel the energy of it, and the more you will take the time to do it, and maybe even try to reorganize your work or something, so that you don't have to start to work. I have the advantage of working at home, being self-employed, so I am my own boss. I can decide any time when I want to start working, and I usually start working around 9:30. So, and then we start working, right? Maybe just saying breakfast should be light, obviously, no? Sattvic. We'll talk more about food in other classes, but so fruits, nuts, cereals, depending also on the kind of work that you will be doing. If you have a lot of hard physical work to do, then you will need more food, also at breakfast. Very often in India, they wait with breakfast till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, so that they don't disturb this very sattvic time by digesting. Maybe they'll have a little tea at 8 or something after the meditation, and then they will still wait. With that they can survive a little bit longer till, yes, now we're going to have to go to work, so now we need some energy, we need some food, we need to go out. So this is how it is.